If you were to take a look at my chess.com profile, you might think I'm cheating, because my rating has climbed 89 points in the past 90 days, and I have won 11 games in a row, which is probably my best winning streak I've ever gone on. Now, I promise you I am not cheating. I've just gotten super lucky some of these games. Also, my rating had dipped quite a bit from where it normally hovers, so it's just kind of climbing back up. But this is wild stuff here. And I mean, some of these games, like, it's very obvious I'm not cheating, like this last one I played, where I was completely lost for like the entire game, and my opponent just happened to blunder a back rank checkmate, which doesn't usually happen at 1800, but hey, it keeps the winning streak alive. So this game I'm going to show you today, however, is actually a pretty good one. It was a tense battle back and forth, and there were blunders on both sides, so it's not one-sided the entire game. But let's hop into it. It's a Caro Kann, but a weird one. A weird Caro where my opponent plays c3 on move 2. This is strange. Usually it's d4 or like a knight c3 or something like this, but c3 is strange because the knight wants to go there. Right? Also, you're going to want to play c4 later, but whatever. I play d5, takes, and knight f3, knight f6, and then here I already start making some bad moves. I play bishop g4, which in itself is not like awful, but it's kind of the wrong direction. I should bring this knight out first to kind of protect this light squared diagonal, which is a bit, more vulnerable because of the c3 pawn push. The queen can get out to this diagonal, which I'm not used to seeing, so I didn't really think much of it. I was like, let's just get the bishop to g4, because that's where the bishop goes in the Caro Kann when I can pin the knight, right? So I do that. Okay, bishop g5, whatever. And e6, It's how I usually continue. I play e6, then I play like knight out, and then bishop out, and then I like castle, or get the rook to the c file, play a minority attack type thing. But this must have been some kind of like opening trap that my opponent's familiar with, because he immediately blitzes out queen a4 and knight e5. And I'm sitting there and I'm so mad. I'm so mad because I was playing all these moves pretty quickly. See, I spent no time. I'm not thinking much of it, because usually what would happen in my head is after e6, I don't know, just something like bishop d3, bishop e7, castles, knight c6, rook here, castles, knight out, rook c1, and then like stuff like this, is what I'm like expecting. But my opponent just goes queen a4, and now I should. Well, actually, no. Knight c6 is the right way, because this knight e5 is even worse. But knight c6 and knight e5, which is just so... The reason why e6 is bad is because it blocks the bishop retreating square. So if I played something else, like queen here or something, and he tried to go for this, then I can always like drop the bishop back to d7 and hit the queen and say you're an idiot, and then I can develop and, do my thing. But playing e6 blocks the bishop's return path, and the reason this is so annoying and why it's like a trap is because he's got this annoying pressure on the knight. That's one thing, right? Like if I were to just pass the move back to white, then he's going to take the knight, take, right? And that hits the queen or the king and the rook. So if I block with the queen, then the rook gets taken. Otherwise, I have to move my king out in the center. That's one thing that's annoying. The other thing that's annoying is my bishop is hanging on g4. No, it's not. The knight defends. Yeah, but the knight's pinned to the queen. So it's like a double, this is just crazy. And if I try to block the pin, well, that doesn't work because he can just take and then take. Just remove the defender. And I'm just losing. Okay, well, that's easy. Let's just defend the knight. No. Okay, well, that's easy. Let's just move the queen. No, you lose the piece. No matter how you spin it, you're not doing well. Now, I was thinking maybe I can go like, I don't even know, like queen here and like takes. No, not even that. It was there's nothing. There's no hope. There's no hope. So I find the best move, which is to drop the bishop back to f5. I spend 6 minutes on this move. Look at my clock. 15:45 down to 9:20. I thought about resigning. I fully thought about resigning after he played 95 and I spent 6 minutes in thought. I was so mad. But I calm myself down. I play bishop f5 and I say, prove it. Prove it. Now, of course, he plays bishop b5 as expected, because why would you not? Pile pressure. And I bring my rook over to defend. Now, I was fully prepared for this. I was going to pin him, and then I was expecting bishop b5, and I was going to play a6. This is actually the best line, and I was actually preparing to play it. Now here, white can just develop the knight and just go about his business, and then I can just like go here, and then the computer says like queen b3, and then you can take. Okay, you're down a pawn, your rook is hit, but hey, you at least live to play another handful of moves. The position's not like hopeless. You're probably going to castle at some point, even if your king gets opened up. At least you're not dead right away. You got the bishop pair here. You got a lot of pawns in the center. Who knows? Maybe you survive. But what happens is very strange. Because he plays bishop b5. I play rook c8, which is bad. It's better to go queen c8, but whatever. I go rook c8, fully expecting this, and moving my king. Like, I was ready to die. I was ready to just, like, just not, the bishop never gets out. And, two passed pawns connected, and you're just done. It's toast. GG's. But for some odd reason, he takes on a7. Isn't that wild? Isn't this absolutely wild? He's like, oh, the knight's pinned, I can win a pawn. I'm like, dude, you could win a pawn this way and slaughter my king. Why are you taking this? It just lets me defend the knight again. I do it the wrong way. Apparently it's better to go rook c7, whatever. But I'm just like, let me defend the knight. And then after the trades happen, and he takes the knight on f6 for some reason, which is odd, because it gives me the bishop pair after all of this and an open g file to play with. But like, I'm down one pawn, but it's not so bad. Queens fall off the board, and I got a cluster of pawns in the center. My king is actually safe now. I got the bishop pair. I got an open g file. Sure, he's got a passed pawn here, but it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And I'm like, am I kind of chilling here? Like, after all this, after being here, where you could have easily just gone here. And by the way, this doesn't work because, well, and I was like, oh, maybe I can do this. No, it's just, no matter how you spin it, it's just not good. I mean, you can maybe sack, but like, you're just dead. You're just dead. But anyway, into the position that actually occurred. Taking this is wild. I would never in a million years take this. But he does. And I'm like, okay. Then we go into all this. I'm like, okay, okay, let's get the rook to the g file. He plays this. Because if you castle, you get hit with this. Right? And you're going to lose that. So he plays this, and I'm like, okay, the light squares are looking good now, so that's another positional advantage now. Sure, I'm down a pawn, but I have all of the positional pluses. And you look a few moves later, and I'm better, according to the engine. Black is better down a pawn, because I expanded the center, my king is totally safe, I got the bishop pair, and his king is still stuck here. So it's wild. Let's see how this unfolds. I play h5. I'm trying to break this up and maybe get to his king a little bit because it's pretty weak. And he plays king f2. And I thought, let me attack the knight. Not the best way to go. Maybe better to follow through with this plan. And if takes, then, you can go for like a trade here and then like rook b7. Attack this. Yeah, b3. Rook b4. You kind of get all in his face over there. That's the way I could have gone. Just completely break up his structure. I also could have done some other stuff, like rook b7 first, attack the pawn, or like bishop d6 even, but I go here, whatever. But the knight drops back. What he should do is defend the knight, or I was expecting knight b3 actually, trying to get into c5. But, oh, but I guess that's a bit strange because of this, but this defends the bishop. King c7. Yeah, see, I thought this was, better for, or like a better version of what, better for white than what he actually did, because the knight is stronger here. You can like glue it in. But anyway, it's enough of a tangent. He drops the knight back. I advance my king to unpin my c-pawn. And I'm just solid. Now, I do kind of give up my advantage a little bit, but it's still balanced, right? Keep in mind, I'm down a full pawn, and it's still only plus 0.15, so doing all right. I attack this pawn. I take the knight because he's threatening this annoying, like, check here, but apparently, like, I can go h4, and then even if, like, this happens, it's actually not great because of, like, bishop d2, and you get in and start eating stuff. And like this c4 is possible, but then, maybe you can push this, maybe you can play rook a8 or something, and like you get this and that. But alas, I just chop the knight and push. I'm like, hey, I got central pawns. I'm just gonna push him. Now he defends a little bit, but I just trade, and now my structure is feeling a bit better. Now he does have 2 connected pass pawns, which is annoying. But can he really start pushing him? I mean, he trades this, which makes my structure even better. And then he drops back, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting in. I'm getting in. Takes. I'm hitting f3. Now he pushes it to defend, but I just trade, and I'm going to win the pawn. And he drops the bishop back here. Now, obviously, you give me this position. The first move that comes to mind is going to be this. You take away one of the passed pawns, and you're going to, it's probably going to be a draw. Everyone's going to eat each other's pawns. But for some reason, I didn't have that much time. I had less than 2 minutes on the clock. So I play rook takes f4 and then immediately went, wait, why didn't I? Idiot. I got so mad. But then he goes here. And I was like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? Maybe I like push here. Maybe I... And that was my exact reaction. I went, oh, out loud, because my girlfriend was right next to me, and I was like, oh man, why didn't I go rook f2? I'm so mad. And she's like, Stanley, calm down. And I'm like, no, I'm an idiot. And she's like, Stanley. And I'm like, oh. After all this, after having a horrible opening, a middle game that was a bit shaky, an end game that looks very scary with some passed pawns where you miss an opportunity to win one of them, I find a game-winning tactic, rook takes e4. And the winning streak continues. The king, you takes, and you give the check, and you skewer, you win the rook in the corner. Now, here is the funny bit. I blunder an equal position a few moves later into this endgame. Now, it doesn't end in a draw. I do win, but this is not the easiest thing in the world to win. I mean, like, if you lose the pawns, you got to stop these pawns, the kings, it's tough. So I glue in my bishop here, pushes, and I already start going the wrong, I shouldn't let his king in, right? I should realize my bishop has the ability to control these pawns, and maybe I just park my bishop on a8 to kind of protect everything over here, and then, he doesn't really have any moves. He can start like pushing here, but I just push, right? And I can defend my pawn from a distance. So why bishops are generally better than knights. And, I'm chilling. I'm going to eat these pawns now. And he can never really go after this pawn because I'm going to be able to push and win. So that's what I should have done. But instead I'm like, I don't know what to do. I have 30 seconds on the clock. Let me just, he's never going to be able to do this because I got my bishop here. And I'm going to go in. I'm going to be able to eat the pawns and stop any nonsense. But it's a draw. It's a draw. Oh, spoilers. Let me find the position again. Give Give me a moment. Give me a moment. Okay. So here, it's a draw if he plays king e5. Why? Because he kicks my bishop away, and then he gets this pawn. And it's because he's got this. And even though I could start pushing this, it's defended. I just don't have time. Sorry, he walks the king. I bring my king. Now he pushes. And I just don't have enough time. I have to stop that. I am one move away from being able to defend this pawn. And he gobbles it up. And it's a draw. But that's not what happens. Sorry, I'm having a hard time maneuvering here. That's not what happens. Because he doesn't know what to do, and he comes forward, trying to push his own pawns. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I wanted, because now I get to push f4 and give up the bishop. You can't take it or I queen, right? So he's got to try and run, but now I'm like, okay, now I'm chilling. Because now I can eat these pawns, and I have enough time to defend this pawn. He can never take it, and I'm just going to walk over, eat it, give up the bishop here because the red carpet's rolled out and the pawn promotes. What a game. What a game. Beautiful stuff. I want to see how far I can take this winning streak. But I feel like my account might start getting flagged in like chess.com's like cheating algorithm. I promise you I'm not cheating. I just explained my entire thought process this whole game, and you saw that there were blunders going both ways. So I promise you I'm not using Stockfish here, but this is just absolutely insane. I want to hit 1900 at some point this year. I think we can do it. But anyway, if you made it to the end of this video, as always, thank you very much. Make sure you like and subscribe, and have a great rest of your day.